Yesterday, we got the news. ESPN is finally back on YouTube TV. But how long until we have to pay some raise prices?
What a way to lead into it, Derek.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. So, what's happening with the view here?
What do you mean?
We got a weird view going on, I think. They're asking, what is this view? And I think we got something where, like, both of our screens are, like, being shown simultaneously with this. It's bizarre.
On YouTube right now?
Either on YouTube or on our phone.
On our phone? What do you mean?
Yeah. I gotta look this thing up. Because honestly,
this is part of StreamYard where you have to set up this new view thing.
Okay, so it's not even coming through on there. Okay, so it's not coming through on Twitter. I'm going on to YouTube. Sorry, we're working this out in real time because there's no other way to tell.
No, you talk about the vertical thing?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see. Show vertical. Oh, this little thing?
Yeah.
Well, you can. I'm hiding that, but
yeah,
I think you could change that if you're the viewer, right?
I guess so. Maybe if it's the viewer. Yeah, maybe it's a viewer problem. Okay, moving on. YouTube TV, ESPN. Yes, glad to have Disney channels back.
Yeah, terrific. But how long do we have to pay for a higher fee now?
I don't know. Yearly, man. Yearly. That's the messed up thing with all these subscriptions. They're just going to keep on driving up the prices until you just don't buy it anymore, and then they start losing revenue. But as long as they keep making money and people keep watching, then it's going to continue to go up no matter what.
I know it is. It's just, I'm glad that they've resolved it. But yeah, it means that this will go up every year and whatever. Like, that's just the price of a new thing that's a high commodity where most people have YouTube TV right now. I believe so. I think, an older demographic still has cable, but I think a lot of people are switching over. But
that's capitalism, baby.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, this thing was, I remember when did YouTube TV start? Like, I heard about it years ago, and I remember people in LA when I was working at NFL Network had it, and they were complaining about a ESPN and YouTube TV contract dispute, and they finally resolved it. And at that time, it cost like $75 a month. Now it's risen to like 85. Soon it'll get to 100 a year, and that's only going to happen when you have NFL Sunday Ticket and all that shit. So the NFL is pushing its viewers to get this product, and it's great. You don't need a cable provider. You don't need, all the hoopla of getting TV in your house, a dish, and all that bullshit that I had in college. It's just if you have good Wi-Fi, you can have TV. But now that so many different companies are involved and ESPN wants to plug its own streaming platform, that's going to happen. I am glad we are keeping our $20 credit, even though it doesn't mean shit. $20, who cares at the end of the day? We pay so much for this. But it's just the principle of the thing where in the email they say we are going to return ESPN, Disney channels back to YouTube TV, and we are going to get you your $20 credit. Yippee, yay.
The only thing, though, we were missing is Monday Night Football, and that would suck with the Raiders and Cowboys being on Monday Night Football. I wouldn't want to miss that. But I haven't really missed ESPN too much, if I'm being 100% honest. I haven't been yearning for it,
I hear you. It's just, it's the live games. It's I don't give a fuck about watching Pat McAfee or, First Take or any of those shows because I don't watch them. I'm going to work. To me, it's the live sporting events. It's all the NBA games. It's all the college football that we get today. Texas and Georgia playing. It's the Monday night games that we've missed the last 2 weeks. So that's the stuff that I miss. It's just the live games. I want to watch the live games. Live programming, at this point, we see enough clips on social media where you get the gist of what people are talking about. So I don't care about that. I care about the games that we missed out the last 2 weeks.
Hell yeah.
All right. Just your opinion, man. Steven, you just don't care either way, huh?
I really don't. I don't really watch a lot of college football anyway. There's hardly any NBA games on ESPN anymore. There's a few, but not as much as NBC or Prime.
Well, Wednesday nights.
And also ESPN's programming kind of sucks when it comes to basketball. I know they got the Inside the NBA guys now, but as far as it just being like a pregame and a halftime show, I don't really care for it. Postgame show is really where they start to kind of go off the rails, and that's where you're getting all the fun clips and stuff. But yeah, I didn't really miss it too much, if I'm honest. I'm just like kind of going about my day. Like it sucked not getting Monday Night Football, but that was about it for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Popper, we're coming to you on a Saturday. We'll be talking about the Warriors' last two big wins against the San Antonio Spurs. Some news in the NFL, some sound of the week that tickled my fancy. We'll talk about an unfortunate passing that happened locally here in the Bay Area, and we'll pick some games for Week 11 in the NFL. But, Stephen, you ever been to Hawaii?
Yeah.
How recently?
Probably been like probably like 8 or 9 years.
Oh, damn. Okay. Oh, this is the story of where you didn't want to, your family would always go, but you didn't want to go, right?
No, that was not the one. That was a long time ago.
Well, yeah, but so this was a different trip. But that story I'm talking about was related to Hawaii, correct?
Correct. Yes, this was one. That was one when I was like 16.
Gotcha. Okay.
Parents had a timeshare there.
Gotcha.
They
Okay.
did. We were very fortunate with that, and now we don't have it anymore.
Okay, so not to flex, but I'm going to Hawaii tomorrow, and it's for work. It's a business trip. I'm going to butcher this. I should know this pronunciation by the time I'm on the air on Monday. Hanua Kea Beach Resort in Hawaii on the Big Island. I'll be there. And do you have any recommendations? I know you may have not been at this hotel, but anything you recommend while I'm in Hawaii?
I got nothing unless you're talking the south of Maui, which is in Kihei. I got Kihei vibes all for you. I know Lahaina, pretty devastating when that fire hit because, we used to go to that area all the time. So I know Maui, but I don't really know too much of the Big Island.
Fair enough. Okay, I'll figure it out for myself, and it'll be a good time. It's just I don't like leaving on a Sunday, especially during the NFL season. I know people are going to be like, oh, whoa, okay, Derek, you're going to complain about going to Hawaii? Yeah, when it comes to missing football, absolutely I am. You're damn right I am.
There's also another thing you're missing that you should care about, but
Oh, yes. I am unfortunately missing Steven and Jesse's baby shower. And I feel really bad about that. But, I will get you guys a gift. I'm there in spirit. And you guys will be fine without me.
I'm sure. You got a lot of people.
Okay, so there you go. See, yeah,
a lot of people going.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You had to schedule that during football too, but whatever. So yeah, we got a big slate tomorrow, a really good slate. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, I'll be. Have you tried out? You've been traveling around. Have you been on a plane with Starlink yet?
I don't know what that is. What is that? That sounds
Starlink, I guess,
fancy.
is this new fancy Wi-Fi that they have on Hawaiian Airlines, where you can literally stream anything. Like if you're at home and you want to watch Netflix or you want to watch YouTube TV, you have that ability on this plane.
Huh. So it's like a Roku, but on a plane.
Basically, I mean, it's just a Wi-Fi connection. So you bring your laptop, you bring your phone, and you sign in, and it's free of charge, and you're good to go.
How about that?
Yeah. So I probably won't miss anything tomorrow, but yeah, it's just going to throw me off a little bit. But
the only thing though is I'll say this about planes, like that's kind of new. I'm glad we're moving off the taking off your shoes segment of security. They don't really make you take your shoes off anymore, at least at SFO in Portland when I last went. In a lot of places, actually. I didn't have to take them off in Vegas either.
Yeah, that's more of the norm now, where when you go to an airport, they won't make you do that. Which, I didn't really care that much, but it's another hassle. I just wish we get to the point where we didn't have to take out our laptops, or what else annoys me? Just like liquid stuff. Like, God forbid I go over the limit of ounces that the liquid contains. I'm like, whatever, okay. And then you have to, confiscate it and throw it out. I'm like, I paid for that lotion or whatever water bottle. Just annoying.
Yeah, they took away my hot sauce when I was coming home from Texas last time. They took away my hot sauce. I forgot about it. It was this taco hot sauce. I was really looking forward to it. And they just took the bottle. Supposedly they donate it. Could be wrong, but they donate it to a food bank, I believe. So it's fine. At least it's going to a good cause.
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't put it past them to be like, ooh, kind of like this, a little lost and found, steal from the lost and found. Why not?
I'm not entirely buying that they, get donated. Like, I think that some people will be like, all right, this is a good water bottle. Ooh, I could use that lotion.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's That is annoying. I mean, do they at least ask you, can we ship it to you? Or were you just like, nah, it's too much of a hassle? Who
No, they
cares?
didn't ask that. They just took it.
That's lame as hell. All right. Anyway, Warriors. They win last night against the San Antonio Spurs. Their last two meetings, they beat the San Antonio Spurs. And Steph Curry goes off 46 on Wednesday, 49 last night. Steph ties Michael Jordan with his 44th game, scoring 40 or more points after turning the age of 30. And it's his first back-to-back 40-point performance since 2022. So, Steven, what'd you make of the Warriors' last two games against the San Antonio Spurs?
What do you think I made of it?
Thrilling, exciting.
Fucking awesome. I mean, like, I think it serves as a reminder, though, that even though I think the story going into it was, well, there was a lot going into it, actually. First off, you had Draymond Green saying those
Personal agendas.
the personal agendas, the commitment to winning, and we knew that was going to happen. We knew how the cycle was going to go. It happens every year. Draymond speaks his mind. Others kind of agree with him. Then you wonder who they're talking about. Some people felt like it was Kuminga, which I feel like was kind of unfair. Then Steve Kerr has to go on to clarify it. Draymond Green has to go on to clarify it. He gets into a little social media spat with Kevin O'Connor, the writer for now Yahoo Sports, because he responded to it saying it's not the younger guys, it's the older guys that are the problem. So we've seen this before. It's just these last two games have served as a reminder that even though the storyline going into it beyond that was also how they're going to guard Victor Wembanyama, the fact that the 7'4" Frenchman is playing at an MVP level, but it's all about Curry. It's all about Steph. This whole thing's been about Steph. Whatever two timeline approach you've been, talking about, whatever problems you have with ownership, talking about the future and how they're light years ahead of everybody and always going back to mention that, whatever you think about Draymond Green, whatever, at the end of the day, the common denominator is they have Steph Curry. And I am fully convinced that we aren't going to see anyone like this in our lifetime, where they're putting together these games already where he's tied Michael Jordan. He's going to pass Michael Jordan, by the way, by a pretty wide margin, I'd like to think. And we are seeing this guy who's growing into a top 5 all-time great NBA player. And I don't think anyone thought that. Like, I saw Brody Brazil likening Macklin Celebrini. Did he join you guys or did you guys post it? He was likening Macklin Celebrini and what he's done in his second year to Steph Curry in 2011. If I remember correctly, Steph Curry in 2011 was known, this guy's going to be a great 3-point shooter, but they didn't know he'd be this all-around icon, like this global superstar at that time. Like, it's all happened in the course of this last, I'd say, 12 years, 13 years, really ever since they drafted, I guess, Clay and then both Draymond. But Curry's it's all about Curry, man. That's, at the end of the day, it's all about number 30. And I'm seeing some stuff about, I saw Tim Kawakami saying it's notable that they have won these two games when Jonathan Kuminga's not on the floor. Maybe, but Steph went nuclear. That's what matters at the end of the day. It's all Steph, dude. And then there's that moment with Draymond Green and Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
It's like Wembanyama, who seems to be as calm and mature as ever. Like, you could tell that there's something there with the Draymond Green thing. Draymond was trying to get under his skin, and I think he accomplished that.
He definitely did. Let's focus on the game real quick, the last two games, and then we'll get to all the narrative stuff, because I do want to talk about the personal agendas and Tim Kawakami and Aaron Turner, Kuminga's agent, going back and forth with each other today. But as far as both games, I mean, yes, they talked about after the game the personal agendas, and Steve Kerr had to clarify and said a lineup change had to happen. So they go with Moses Moody and Will Richard. And I do think we need to get to the point where Moses Moody is starting every game. I think that he's earned that right. I think that he's that good of a player. And I don't know what that does mean for Kuminga. I know that a couple of weeks ago, Steve Kerr said that he's going to be an everyday starter for us. And I think that was too soon to make that proclamation. I think, or not even a proclamation, just a statement basically going forward that this is our guy. He's going to be part of the starting rotation. And with Steve, he changes things. And now people could go back and say, like, well, you said this, you said that. Also, I will say 10 years ago, Steve Kerr said that Andrew Bogut was going to start, and then Andre Iguodala started. So Steve has the right to change his mind as the head coach, but it was effective. But to your point, Stephen, I think it was effective because Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler went off. But I do want to see we get to the point where Moses Moody is starting basically as that 3 guard, and you have Jimmy Butler playing the 4 and Draymond Green playing the 5. And then when DeAnthony Melton's back, I mean, they were pretty good with him a year ago when he was in the starting rotation. So that may take some time with him coming back from the ACL tear. But yeah, the first game on Wednesday night, they were down by 16. They only scored 14 points in the first quarter, and then they got hot. And Draymond was very effective on Victor Wembanyama, and it carried over to the next game. It was more the game last night was more of a back and forth affair. And I do like the setup now where you have 2 consecutive games for a team playing each other. It's kind of like a baseball feel. You kind of get a good vibe of what this team would look like or what these teams would look like in a playoff series. So if the Warriors and Spurs match up with each other, that would be thrilling to me. It would be a lot of fun. But yeah, last night you saw it the other night with OKC, and we've seen it for the last 2 years now, or the last 3 years, where OKC is this dominant team in the Western Conference, and the Spurs are trying to get there. And last night, the last 2 nights, kind of said to me that this is the passing of the torch where the Warriors, they're still going to be a good team and still have championship aspirations, but the Spurs are going to be that team soon with Victor Wembanyama. And there was just amazing plays where he blocked Jimmy Butler at the rim, Draymond Green and him getting into it. And I'm sure Victor hasn't appreciated all the comments that Draymond has made back in the day about him. Like he shouldn't win Defensive Player of the Year as a rookie. He's just blocking shots. Victor Wembanyama is the first person I've seen to like bully Draymond Green. It's mainly just because of his stature. The guy's a freak, but like the way that Draymond has to go low into him, and Victor's like, do all you can, man. You can't stop me. So I thought just last night was a lot of fun. But yes, the reason that they were so potent offensively was because Steph Curry went off for 46 and 49, and Jimmy Butler was his Robin. And yes, Moses Moody provided some points on Wednesday night, but I will say this is not sustainable, which is Draymond with Steph Curry just going off for almost 50 points and Jimmy Butler, coming up second with about 20 points. They need bigger contributions from everybody else on the team.
Sure. But it's all about Steph, man. That's my whole
I know
point.
It's all about Steph, Steven, but like, is every playoff game going to result in him scoring 45 points?
No, you wanted to focus on the game. So I'm focusing on the game, like 49 points, dude. Like
I am focusing on the game, but for the long-term ramifications, they need to get more people involved. Yes.
Obviously. Yeah. But like last night, I think it shows, even though the Thunder game was real ugly, and the Thunder really just have too much talent top to bottom. And honestly, they're looking like, I don't know, just because I can't come up with a better comparison, but they're looking like the 2016 Warriors right now. Like that's just how dominant they're looking in the regular season. They might not go 73-9, but or whatever it was, 72-9. Can't even remember, but the
73-9. But yes, they kind of look like that team, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, they're reminding me of that, where they're just so much better than everybody else. But I think when we get to this point where we think the Warriors just can't compete with the younger generation, there are games like this that remind us that they can. And the Draymond Green thing, okay, you say that Wembanyama dominated him, but Wembanyama's been going much harder on other players around the league, where Draymond actually played pretty damn well. And I think that final possession where De'Aaron Fox, they had 6 seconds left after Chef shot the free throws, and De'Aaron Fox just goes up for the mid-range jumper. I think a big part of that was Draymond. Just boxing out Wembanyama at the end of the game, not letting him tip the ball back in. Like, Wembanyama is going to get his, but as long as you don't let him beat you single-handedly, then you've done your job against the Spurs. And really, no one's been able to do that this year, because he's been averaging like 30, 10, and 10 or whatever crazy numbers he's been putting up, even more than that with the rebounding. So even though Draymond may have got dominated supposedly like he did, like he did against Wembanyama's it's been much worse for other guys against Wemby this year. I think Draymond did a fine job on this player who is going to probably be an MVP one day.
I'm not saying that Draymond dominated him as far as like, or I'm not saying Victor Wembanyama dominated Draymond as far as like just scoring on him. I'm just saying like in his stature, like the way that they were like, nose to nose at one point and talking shit, where he dominates or towers over him in his stature.
It's crazy.
But Yeah, no, because Victor Wembanyama is, like I said, he's just freakishly tall. But yeah, Draymond was very effective. I want to say on Wednesday night, Victor Wembanyama had 8 turnovers, and I think he shot like 2 for 10 against Draymond. So Draymond's one of the better defenders. I mean, he might be the best defender in all of basketball. But yeah, we know that Steph Curry can go off, and it's electric when he does. It's must-see TV. It's probably the biggest spectacle in all of sports to see him just own a team, own a moment. But what we saw last year, where he is getting older, most of the team is older, and I don't know if it's sustainable to expect him to put up that offensive output every single game when you're in a 7-game series or a 5-game series, even when you're going up against the Timberwolves and he's out with a hamstring. So
Yeah.
that's my only thing is, yes, obviously Steph Curry could be a championship player still. That's obvious. And Jimmy Butler can help him out. But it can't be that formula in the postseason. You need Moses Moody. You need Brandon Pajemski. You need Kuminga to step up. You need those guys to be there. And it's going to be a strength in numbers thing. Absolutely. Every year it's like that.
Yeah. Well, see, you got AJ and Pat H here. AJ saying time to have these hard discussions regarding Draymond and his place on this team.
Why?
I think the hard discussion around Draymond, AJ, is how much worse the Warriors are going to be defensively when he's gone. I think that's the hard discussion to have. I don't think there's any point where I'd want Draymond gone. I'd never have. I've never wanted Draymond gone. I know a lot of people in the chat just can't stand him, and I think a lot of it's really personal, to be honest, when it comes to evaluating him. But as far as his IQ, how much he's directing players on the defensive side of the court, like Steph's there, but and sure, and you're right. You're absolutely right, AJ. If Dre can't keep himself on the court, then he's of no help. But when he is on the court, he is getting to the point where I think someone posted the stat off. We're talking about the way that we talk about Steph and the off-court numbers. You know, Steph on the bench. What do the Warriors look like? Well, when Draymond's on the bench, they are 26th in defensive rating, and when he's out there, they are 2nd in defensive rating. So I just think that a lot of that's personal. I think the hard discussion to have is when he's gone, and ultimately he will be because no one lasts forever on a single team, how much worse this team is going to be defensively. And we're just not even used to that because Dre's been around for the last 13 years. He's been a teenager on this team. It's insane.
Yeah. And I think if you are expecting him to be gone before his contract ends, then that's delusional. I understand like people don't like him and his antics, but at this point, why now would they get rid of him? Like, wouldn't it be after he punched Jordan Poole or all the other things, or when he went to therapy supposedly? Like, why now? I don't think his game is slipping. I just think that it's early in the season, and there's some games where the Warriors just don't give a damn. I think that when they went on the road to Milwaukee and Giannis wasn't playing, they didn't give a damn. I think when they went to Indiana the first time, they didn't give a damn. Yeah. I think that, Draymond bringing up the personal agenda thing, that's funny because I would love for a young player to be like, I think sometimes some guys just lack enthusiasm for a game. And I understand that they play 82 games a year. And it's tough on the older players. But if you want to be that team that competes in the Western Conference,
sure,
I don't think you can have this lackadaisical attitude anymore of, well, we'll just go through the motions sometimes the regular season. The Warriors pick and choose which games they want to show up for. And I know that they were all in when they were much younger 8 years ago when they were the 73-9 team, when they looked like the OKC Thunder right now.
Well, okay, well, hang on, but you remember them talking about those teams, though. They were barely even bought into those games. They were just so much better than everybody.
Yeah, but they had a goal in mind. Like they for all the shit that was talked about when they won that first championship, like, oh, they had the easy road in the postseason. Sure. This guy was hurt. You didn't play the Spurs. They wanted to prove something next year that it wasn't a fluke. So that's why they went for the 73-9 team. And then when they got Kevin Durant, yes, they pick and choose which games they wanted to play up for in the regular season. And it wasn't as fun, but they knew that they could turn it on in the postseason. I don't know if they have that ability anymore. I don't know. Like, yes, Steph can go off any single night, but I don't think they have the ability as an older team now to be like, all right, now we're going to turn it on against OKC. Now we're going to turn it on against the Denver Nuggets in the postseason. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, but you said that after the Thunder game. You said something similar to that. And then they just turned it on against the Spurs, the young and up-and-coming Spurs.
Okay, but that was 2 games, though, man.
Yeah, but you don't... Okay, but, like, they can't flip your mind at all? You're still just going to stay the course with that one?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Well, I mainly because Steph. I mean, Steph is electric. Steph was sick for a good deal of time, and then he went off against the San Antonio Spurs. But do I think that's enough to get them by in a 7-game series? I don't know at this point.
Well, luckily that's not happening for a lot of time now.
I know. I mean, like, dude, like, yes, we can all say, like, how many times are we to say, like, Steph is, we know Steph is amazing. We know Steph is great. But in order
Right.
for them to win a championship, other guys need to step up. It can't just be Steph Curry again.
Sure.
That's all
Sure.
I'm saying.
Yeah. But I think last night was just forget about the big picture. Let's just appreciate what they do have in Steph. I think that's what last night was about. Like you might be right. Like you are probably right because that's just the nature of the NBA. Dynasties start slipping, younger teams start getting better, and the older guys can't keep up. That's just the nature of sports overall. But seeing what Steph did last night, I can't say enough about it. And I understand with Anthony Slater's piece on top of that, we didn't even mention that with the whole Draymond stuff. And then Brandon Pajemski saying that he wants to kind of take over like Curry or something. I'm paraphrasing there. And then that ended up getting a few eye rolls from players and staffers within the team. I guess. I mean, I don't know if it was players, but I get that. Because it's like no one is going to be Steph Curry. There's not going to be another one like him. You know, we thought there would be, you know, even like Damian Lillard was on the rise. And remember Trae Young when he was getting drafted? It's like, okay, that could be the next Steph Curry. I just don't think we're getting another one.
No, of course not. I mean, like, yes, the narrative coming out of the last 2 games is Steph is awesome and he's an all-time great, and that's why the Warriors are so successful. Absolutely. Yep. But let's see what happens, you know, as we get to Christmas and before the trade deadline, just how consistent this team looks. Yeah. I think you'll have times where we see, you know, what we saw the last 2 nights where Steph Curry goes off, and you'll see nights where we saw what happened against OKC. It's just going to be inconsistent, where I think, you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility still that they need to make a trade, and Kuminga's on the table, where if they really want to compete, if they want to, you know, beat these younger teams in the Western Conference, then maybe they need to get a big man. Like, you know, Tim Kawakami wrote about it, all the potential trade candidates. I don't think Giannis is feasible during the season. He mentioned Anthony Davis and Devin Booker. I don't think any of those guys are feasible. All the guys on the Pelicans right now, with Willie Green being fired, are on the table, in my opinion. All the Kings guys.
Well, consider me dead wrong on that team.
Yeah, I know. You saw Slimmer.
I saw Slimmer Zion, and I went blind.
Yeah, I was like, dude, it's the same old thing with the Pelicans. You got Zion, and we love Kevon Looney and Jordan Poole, but they're not changing. Same old team. That's just my thing, was where, yes, Steph still has that ability to be Steph Curry, but is it enough for them to win a championship? I don't know at this point. As far as all of the behind the scenes stuff, the personal narrative, or the personal agendas. You and I were doing a show on Tuesday night when the Warriors lost to OKC, and then I saw the post-game press conference where Draymond Green mentioned that. And I initially thought
that would have been really cool if the game was earlier, and then, you know, we would have had that to react to. That would have been sick.
In real time, yeah. But I saw him bring that up, and, well, okay, the initial question from Anthony Slater was, why do you think this team is not playing as hard as when you acquired Jimmy Butler? And the truth of that, you know, question is because it's not that time of the year yet. Because when they acquired Jimmy Butler, before they acquired Jimmy Butler, it was where they were 10th in the Western Conference and on the verge of not making the postseason, and their backs were against the wall. So they had to play with urgency every single night. Now it's the beginning of the season, so you're not going to have that same intensity. But Draymond said it's because, you know, we're not playing as hard. And then it led to, I'm paraphrasing as well, but it led to Anthony Slater saying, is it because people have personal agendas? And then Draymond Green went with that. And I think he went with it because that's the phrase that Anthony Slater, you know, put to him. But everyone keeps talking about how Draymond Green doesn't mince words. He knows what he's saying. So my initial reaction was he might be talking about Kuminga here. He might be talking about Kuminga because Kuminga's been that guy we've seen in the past where he'll go rogue with the offense, and he has his own personal agenda to score points and not get rebounds and pass the ball. But that was last year. That was not this year's Kuminga, even though in recent games he has slipped a little bit, but he's been, you know, solid for the most part. But I thought that was the case, but maybe I thought that he was just talking in generalities about how, like, we're just not in sync right now. And Jimmy Butler kind of, you know, I loved how some people were reacting the next day with Jimmy Butler's comments saying how guys need to, you know, play defense better, get better stops. the Dan Lebitard show, and a lot of people are like, "Here we go, same old Jimmy Butler." I'm like, "Yeah, but that he was more demonstrative. He was calling out guys, by name back in the day when he was with Minnesota or the 76ers or Miami. That was different on Wednesday night."
I guess, but they do make a point where he's got money right now. And when it comes to contract talks, we could be looking back at this and thinking this is the start potentially of whatever happens, because it does happen with Jimmy Butler time after time. But with every team, really, the Heat, it was just more extended because of the contract situation there. But I think it's not the same, but it could be something we look back to if it all unravels. Maybe not. Maybe it's just kind of an exception. Last night, you saw him yelling at a coach at the end of the game. I don't know who that was. That didn't really get any publicity because it was.
I
all
saw
about
that
Steph.
too. I didn't know if it was just. I thought it was weird because the game ended.
Yeah, didn't look like much of a celebration between those two.
It didn't. I don't know if he was. At first, I thought it was an opposing coach, and I'm like, "Who is that guy?"
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody got any clarification on that one, so I just let it go. But yeah, I did think that was awkward last night.
It was a little weird.
But like, did you make a big deal out of the personal agenda thing? Because initially, I did think he was talking about Kuminga, and then Anthony Slater has that article where he says people kind of rolled their eyes at Brandon Pajemski, and not to go full Kevin O'Connor, but I kind of agree with him where it's like, why do you guys care so much? Like, it's good to have aspirations. It's good to be, I understand. Like, okay, Pods, you think you're Steph Curry, but like the guy has goals. He's just confident in himself.
I don't know what to think of it, really. Because one part of me thinks, oh my God, he's calling out the team. But the other part of me thinks, God, he shouldn't have said that. And he probably knows he shouldn't have said that. I don't know who he's talking about. Maybe it is Pajemski. But, okay, goals and confidence is one thing. But Pajemski hasn't shown, like, Draymond's getting called out for his lack of consistency from the chat. You want to talk about a lack of consistency? I think that's Pajemski. Like, you may be getting a lack of consistency on the offensive end from Draymond, but defensively, I think you're getting what Steve Kerr calls the best defender that he's ever seen in the NBA. I think you're getting that on a nightly basis. So I don't know who he was calling out. He shouldn't have done it. Like, that's the bottom line, is he shouldn't have done it because it's just going to create a bunch of noise around the team that you don't really want. What do you think Mike Dunleavy's thinking with that? Like, what do you think Steve Kerr's thinking with that? Like, what if Kuminga does think it's about him, even though it's not? It was a whole thing. It was weird. And then there's people bringing up the fact that Butler had Kuminga over for dinner, and he's really trying to become a mentor to the guy. And it's like, oh, there's some division here with Jimmy Butler and Draymond. Now we're finally seeing these two alphas clash. I don't know. I don't want to read too much into it because there's probably nothing to read into. And it's just the drama of the NBA as the cycle continues with him, where something is said afterwards, and then people think it's divisive, and then you question who he is as a player, and then you want him off the team. It just happens with every year with Draymond, it feels like.
Do you think he was talking about Kuminga in some way?
I don't know, man. I really don't. I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is because it seemed Kuminga, by everything that he said and done, I truly think that he did buy into what the Warriors were selling. I don't think he was earlier, but I really think that he was buying into it. And then when Steph went out, he started pressing and tried to become the star. And I don't know if he was talking about him. Maybe there's others on the team that Dre was talking about. But I'd like to think that if he really had a problem, he wouldn't go forward with it to the media and instead would talk to him face to face.
I would think so too.
Man to man. Stand on your word, brother.
Yeah. I think that Draymond only answered that way because Anthony Slater brought up the personal agenda.
Anthony Slater did he did his job. He followed it up. Like, you're not supposed to just leave that. But
Draymond also kind of danced around it too, being like, I think it's good to have personal agendas when you're a player. Personal agendas are not a bad thing too. He did say that. It's just interesting where I don't know if Kuminga was out of the starting rotation because he was hurt, he was dealing with knee soreness, or because it just flows better with Moses Moody and Will Richard, where everybody's in sync a little bit more. And yeah, after the first San Antonio win, they were talking about how that's the way it should look. And again, that was mainly because Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler went off.
Yeah.
But
I don't
then, like,
know.
but then, like last night, it flows pretty well too without Kuminga, and it is worth noting. I just don't know if that is the case because we'll find out pretty soon when Kuminga's healthy if he's back to the starting rotation. But I do think it's fair, even though I hate this guy. I do think it's fair for Aaron Turner to defend his client and be like, you don't know necessarily that's why the team is performing well. It's because Steph scored 49 last night. That's why the team performed well. And Tim Kawakami's allowed to bring that up as well. But I don't think we should have, this universal opinion right now that, yes, Kuminga is the reason why the offense wasn't performing well. And that's why, when they changed the lineup, that's why things have changed. I think it's mainly because Steph Curry went off.
That's
why the offense changed.
Yeah, that's my thing. It all comes back to Steph. Like, I don't necessarily buy into that the offense was moving better without Kuminga. I don't because they were moving just fine with Kuminga in there. It's just when Steph got sick, really, that's when everything changed. It all comes back to Steph.
Yeah,
like those back-to-back games in Indiana and Milwaukee. That's when he started feeling it. Obviously, that game against Phoenix, where he's like, "Dude, I'm hurting right now."
mm-hmm.
I mean, I put up 28 points, but I'm hurting. And he was done after that. So I think it all comes back to Steph. Like, I'm sure maybe the offense did look smoother with Richard and Moody out there, but I'm not going to jump to that conclusion. I thought Kuminga was playing great, and that would go against everything that I was saying about Kuminga earlier. Like, I can't just talk about how well he's playing and then just come back and say, Will Richard and Moses Moody are flowing better within the offense. Like, that'd be hypocritical of me to say. I don't buy into that. It just all comes back to Steph, man.
Of course it does. And yeah, that's why, that's why it's so important that I don't care about the games where Kuminga goes off without Steph Curry. That doesn't matter to me. The championship moments are going to be, does Kuminga perform well when Steph Curry is on the court? And that's why it's been the complete opposite this season as opposed to last year, where we saw games where Kuminga scored 33 points against the Houston Rockets and then didn't know what to do when Steph Curry was on the court. Now it's flipped. Now we've seen games where Kuminga has played well with Steph Curry. The bottom line, though, is other guys do need to step up. It can't just be Steph scoring 50 points and that's how you're going to win a championship. That is not reasonable. That is that's probably not going to happen. But I do expect these guys to step up when Steph is out. We do need to get to that point where last year Steph had the butt contusion and you had to go to Miami, you had to go to Charlotte. I forget the other games they played, but they were on the East Coast and their offense was terrible. You do need to get to a point where you trust your younger players and they can provide some offense to you. It can't be just where Jimmy Butler is going to be the facilitator and we go back to Jimmy of Miami. Like, no, we need to see where Brandon Pajemski, Moses Moody, Kuminga, those guys step up in regular season games. In the playoffs, they also need to step up with Steph Curry on the court, though.
Derek, I think that's the hard discussion to have. I don't know if they can if Steph Curry's off the court. You're saying they need to do that? Yeah, you're probably right, but I don't know if they can.
And that's the part where I do
wonder.
Had a
sample size of it, but not a large one. And
that's where I wonder.
We've had is ugly so far.
That's where I wonder if these guys are really good enough.
Right.
Like, I think Moses Moody plays off of these guys pretty well. I do wonder. Like, I don't think Brandon Pajemski's a starter. I think he's a nice hustle player that gets rebounds and shoots threes. But like to have him like being the starting two guard, I'm sorry. I think that's gone on way too long now. I think that you need to get a better player in there. And I do trust in Moody. I do trust more in Kuminga this year. But are those guys going to rise to the occasion when we have these regular season games that are going to matter in the long run when Steph Curry's not out there? Because there will come a point again where he's not playing. It's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, they might have great individual performances, but you need that one guy who everyone's fearing. Like, just the way that Kerr talks about Steph and Draymond, a lot of the younger guys, he likes what he sees, but when he talks about them, it's another level of praise. It's him comparing after that first Spurs game, it's him comparing Curry to Tim Duncan, saying that he is our sun. He is our solar system. We revolve around him.
Yeah.
Like Draymond being the greatest defensive player that he's ever seen. Like, I just think if you lose either one of those two guys, like Butler's a solid player. Like Butler's really, really good, an all-star, but like, he's not going to go out there and get 30 every night anymore. Like, it's just not going to happen.
No.
So without Steph, I don't really know what this team is. And to be honest, that's okay. That's okay. Cause they've won 4 championships with this damn team.
Yeah, but it wasn't just where Steph was carrying the team, though.
Maybe he was. He was in 2022. Andrew Wiggins was there, sure, but it was Steph.
Andrew, dude, Wiggins was playing really well.
He was awesome.
And so was Kevon Looney. That's what I'm saying is just like a little contribution like that. Like, yes, okay, Steph was a superstar for 2022, absolutely. And the other times it was strength in numbers and Andre Iguodala coming off the bench and Kevin Durant. But 2022 is where Steph was the true MVP and how you saw how great he was.
Right.
I think Steph is amazing. I don't think he could do that again. It's just he carries the team where he has a 45-point performance like he did in Boston in what was it, game 4. I don't think you're going to get that Steph Curry continuously through a playoff run.
Maybe not, but I think you can get him to score. I mean, he still gets 25 easily. Like, that's a bad night for Steph.
Yeah.
I actually believe that he can. He just hasn't had the opportunity.
Well,
Last year didn't.
I don't think he's slowing down anytime soon. I think that we're talking about the next 2 years with Steph Curry because he has that contract, but I think he can play well into his 40s. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised with this ownership group that they want to hang on to Steph as long as possible. And they just say, we'll write you a blank check, whatever you need, man. Just you stay here as long as you can.
Yeah.
Stay here.
See, Ernie, this is the mind game that he's playing, Ernie. Local radio host doubts Steph, and he took that personally. This is reverse psychology because everyone knows that Steph listens to Just Your Opinion, man.
Damn right he does.
Everyone knows that. By the way, how about just not even just the stuff going on within the team? How about Steph having that game after he parts ways with Under Armour? How about that? Like, that's just, I mean, come on, man. That's just throwing egg in their face. It's great.
People make a big deal about shoe deals. I could give a shit.
Right, but it was a big deal to a large market of people.
I understand that. And it was breaking news, and Shams Charania tweeted out, me personally, I know that's like a big thing with NBA players. I do not care.
Okay, but Steph does. And the fact that he scored 49 on a Friday night, I think just shows
you think that was extra motivation where he was leaving Under Armour to show everybody he's still that guy?
Well, maybe, because I didn't even notice this. But the way that they haven't like marketed Steph as much as they could have through like these performances that he's had, I do agree with that. And I do think there was a little bit where it's like, yeah, everyone knows about this now. I got to go off, show them that they made a mistake.
I mean, Steph is the petty king. I wouldn't doubt that. Just I hear that. There is an interest in that stuff. Me personally, though, if you told me that Steph Curry, or like Michael Jordan tomorrow broke it off with Nike, I'd be like, wow, that's significant because he's been with them for 40 plus years. But whenever like a current player leaves their shoe company, I'm like, okay, cool.
Well, I'm not going to try to convince you why it's a big thing then.
I understand why. Okay, why is it a big thing?
Well, because he was on his way to being the next Michael Jordan for that brand, and they just broke it off. He had a lifetime deal set up, a near lifetime deal.
I mean, it's stupid business on their part. Absolutely. I think that, are we sure that it was Under Armour that wanted to say goodbye to Steph, or Steph saying, I got bigger aspirations here?
Oh, it was Steph, for sure.
Okay. Then he saw an opportunity. I'm sure he's going to sign with Nike. Wasn't he wearing Nikes last night?
I don't know what he was wearing last night.
I think it was Nikes. I just don't. I mean, like, I know that shoe stuff is very big in the NBA. I personally just don't care about that stuff.
Yeah.
I did like the Amazon Prime broadcast. That was the first time where I was actually like watching it. The post game show with Blake Griffin and Dirk Nowitzki and Udonis Haslem, not bad. I do think, to your point, Steve, that you said a couple weeks ago, I do think the new NBA broadcasts of Prime and NBC are trying to show that they care about basketball, where ESPN/TNT now with Inside the NBA, they have the names, but those guys don't care at all about current players.
Right. Well, I mean, they care. They care, but they also look at them. They don't try to analyze the game. I mean, they do, but they also think, I'm here to teach them. I'm trying to motivate them.
Yeah.
With my analysis. So I don't know, man. I haven't really watched any pre and post too much. honestly, I've got so much going on. It's hard to just sit down and watch to enjoy pre and post game things, you know?
Yeah.
Well, Ernie, yes, I am wearing the same shirt, but look at both of our shoe collections. Then you could, comment on that part.
People have been commenting on my wardrobe lately. And you know what? Screw all of you. I think I think I actually am pretty fly.
Yeah.
What's wrong with what I wear? I'm not trying to be the most fashionable person. I wear a t-shirt and jeans. Who gives a shit at the end of the day?
No one really, but you are on like camera,
Not camera, but like it's radio at the end of the day. Just wearing it. Like, what do you want me to wear?
I don't know. You're on YouTube. Like, spruce it up a bit.
Yeah, I've never cared about clothes. Honestly,
yeah,
never cared.
I gotta find this. God damn it, I gotta find this because I saw this yesterday. I don't know why he was on. I think he was on. Oh, it was 3 weeks ago. Okay, so I saw this 3 weeks ago. You are Larry David.
Me?
Yeah, you are Larry David.
I probably am. I've also been told I'm George Costanza lately, so I don't know how to take that one, but
he was all right, hang on. Okay, here we go. This is it. All right. Larry David on Seth Meyers talking about living in an apartment on his own for the first time.
Okay.
Financially.
Oh, financially?
Yeah.
Oh no, it was not good. I did not earn a living.
Yeah.
I had
You're
a
doing fine.
rent-controlled apartment.
You're doing fine in that
That's what
regard.
saved me.
Thank you.
And my parents gave me all their dishes.
Yeah.
Take to the apartment because I couldn't afford to buy anything. They gave me all their old furniture. It
Yeah.
looked like their apartment.
Yeah.
So the dishes I would have to cook. I'd have to
Yeah.
because I couldn't afford to eat out.
Gotcha.
I would
All
go
right.
shopping and cook. How do people do that? It's
How do
crazy.
people? Yeah, it is crazy.
It is such a waste of time.
Yeah.
The shopping and the cooking and the boiling and the chopping
Yeah.
and the cleaning. The
Again.
cleaning.
And by the way, we are speaking
Not
about a
this
time where
part.
you had nothing going on as well,
Nothing,
right?
yeah.
Next part.
Yeah.
And it was still a waste of time.
Yeah. Still. Yeah. And so I would cook and I would notice, the dishes kept piling up in the sink.
Yeah.
All their dishes, all their china. And
So
the
when you
forks.
said cleaning, it was the idea.
Well, the idea of it,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And so I thought, why do I need, nobody ever comes here.
Yeah.
Why do I need all these plates and forks and knives and spoons? So I threw everything out except one of each.
Wow.
Yeah. And then after I ate, oh, look, there's one plate, easy. I got it. One fork, one knife, one spoon, done. Yeah.
Now,
Hold on. Did you watch this recently, or have you been saving this clip for a rainy day where it's like, that's Derek?
No, I watched this recently. It just popped up in my algo.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Immediately thought of you, dude, when I heard the one spoon, one knife, one plate, done.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of my mentality. Where it's like for a while there, I was like, yeah, just me living here. So why do I need more utensils? But I realize you do need more utensils than just one pair of or one each of a fork, a knife, and a spoon.
Yeah, but I also get the notion that you don't need that much when you're living on your own if no one's really coming over all that often.
I'm a simple man.
Yeah.
I'm a simple man.
I mean, we don't have that many plates. We have like 4 plates and 4 bowls.
I have maybe 5 sets of plates, bowls. That's all I need.
We have an ungodly amount of silverware, though. Yet
Yeah,
somehow we use it.
Well, you can never have too much silverware. I have realized that. Like, it is a nuisance after every meal to clean a fork or a spoon. So it is good to have multiples.
Yeah.
And also, like, the plastic ones that you could just throw away.
Sure. I don't know how great that is for the environment. I'm not an environmentalist or a climate expert, but that doesn't sound.
I say throw away. I mean, you could clean them and still use them. Either way. All right.
Cleated the plastic. By the way, random. I know we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
I was watching, I got back to watching Seinfeld again. Just kind of going through it. I think I was at like season 7 as I was just rolling through the episodes. And I was making breakfast this morning and kind of just had it on in the AirPods. And the Soup Nazi episode came on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching it thinking, this is just like a perfectly crafted sitcom episode. Like, it can't really get much better than that, at least from a Seinfeld perspective. Maybe it can but I think objectively, like with every storyline that's going on, with Kramer and the armoire, and then Elaine getting involved in it, Jerry with the schmoopy, and George getting pissed at the schmoopy, but then making his wife do it so that he could show them up, and then they both start making out in the restaurant. Kramer getting bullied by those two. I think they were a couple who were.
They are definitely a couple. They're definitely a couple.
What do you think I'm saying? You think I'm talking to you? Like,
why would you wear the ribbon? That's another episode with those two guys.
Then just the soup Nazi underlying all of it. It is the perfect sitcom episode. I understand, like, people might call it overrated because everyone talks about that as being like the best and everyone kind of knows it as such. But I think it makes perfect sense because it is just, it's so good.
That is my favorite episode of Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Is the Soup Nazi, because it's just so good with that character, just a one-off. Didn't need to bring him back as a recurring character. It was just so classic enough on its own. And one of my favorite moments is at the end where Newman orders the jambalaya and he smells it out of the bag. He just walks out of the store and just goes, jambalaya.
It's so random. Everyone's lining up for soup.
Yeah. And there's a certain way you have to do it. And then, of course, Elaine gets in there and she's like, oh, okay. Like banging on the table and saying it looks like Al Pacino.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's just by far my favorite episode.
Just such a well-crafted sitcom, like that specific one with everything going on around it. It's just so funny. I haven't watched it in a long time. So even Elaine's delivery at the very end, like
next.
Her line, next, so good.
Yeah, no, very good. All right, let's talk a little NFL, Steven.
What about
Brock Purdy's officially back, along with Ricky Pearsall. But I get the sense that you're not into this move because you're more of a Mac Jones guy of late.
What do you get the sense of that for?
You said it last podcast.
I mean, I get the idea of riding the hot hand if that's what they want to do, but if Purdy's feeling 100%, all right. I just don't know what he's going to look like with that turf toe. I think the Brock Purdy that everyone's arguing for, saying you got to go with him because he's your franchise quarterback, he might look like that, but I just don't know. I don't know if he's going to look the same through a turf toe injury that's ended several careers, or at least prompted the end of several careers. I'm not saying it's going to end Brock Purdy's, but I don't think this season is one where we're going to see him revert back to 2023 out of nowhere just because he's completely rehabbed. And like the secret was, he hasn't been playing too well even before the Mac Jones thing, or according to Kyle Shanahan, he was playing real good against the Seahawks. He was real good against the Seahawks, not that good against the Jaguars.
No, he wasn't. He was pretty bad against the Jags, and I thought that was more because he was rusty than the injury. But yeah, the Seahawks game, he threw 2 bad interceptions, but in the end, he did win the game for them. Again, you could also say that he may have thrown an interception in the end zone there if Jake Tonjes doesn't come up with that grab. But yeah, I mean, my thing is, I understand that Mac Jones technically is the hot hand, but did he do anything like we were like, whoa, okay, this guy
that's another
is now going to be your starting quarterback?
That's another thing. When you go back and look at it, really, it's just, okay, over 2,000 yards passing. I think that's like 13th in the league, which is decent for the amount of games that he's played, but 13 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Not all of them were his fault, but it's not like he's been playing like an MVP.
No,
and so I think Jones is good, but if we're always talking so much about Mahomes and Allen, and I was talking about this with my buddy Nick last night. I watched, I didn't catch like the entirety of the Warriors Spurs last night, but I did end up catching at least the second half and then watching the highlights later. But we were talking about like Jones and Purdy, and if you're going to choose one quarterback that has traits closer to, say, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and the greats that you talk about all the time in the NFL, I'd say that Mac Jones doesn't have the same traits as Purdy, where it feels like at the end of a game, if a pass rush is getting to the offensive line and it's just debilitating and it's close, I think Purdy has the ability to escape out of it and make that extra play to potentially win it. I don't know if I trust Mac Jones in that situation. He's shown that he's shifty, and I don't know, I heard on the broadcast last time, like sneaky athletic, even though he just evaded a quick pressure and kind of just broke out of the pocket for a second.
That's
Mac
a go-to
Jones-
line for white quarterbacks too.
sneaky athletic. Yeah, Mac Jones is an athletic quarterback to me. He's
No.
good. He's better than probably a backup, but is he going to be a starting quarterback somewhere that wins them a Super Bowl? Like, I think with his career, I think he's going to be a really nice piece for anyone who's kind of in limbo with their quarterback situation, like kind of like a Sam Darnold type.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that he is more limited as a passer, but him and Brock Purdy are comparable. But in the end, look, I'm realistic here. Like, Brock Purdy is the franchise quarterback. You're not just going to go off of 8 games of Mac Jones and forget about 38 games with Brock Purdy, where he took your team to the NFC Championship game twice, won it, took it to the Super Bowl, had a lead in overtime, and ultimately lost it. This guy is the franchise quarterback. I don't know if he has the physical traits to be the franchise quarterback, but he is the franchise quarterback just because they're indebted to him for the contract and everything he's accomplished in the past.
Yeah. But man, when you say 38 games, it's a vast difference halfway through that with what his team looks like compared to what it looks like now, or what it's looked like over the last year and a half.
I get that, man. I believe me. I when people say like Brock Purdy's a top 10 quarterback in this league, I don't say that. I think he's top 15. I think that he is the perfect guy to run Kyle Shanahan's offense. But if he were to go to a different team, I don't know if he has the same success. But he's perfect for this scheme. Would I have paid him the amount of money that he got? No. But would I pay Tua? No. Would I have paid Trevor Lawrence? Absolutely not. It's just the market. We've talked about this over and over and over again ad nauseum. It is what it is. When the owner goes out of his way to say we need to reshape the quarterback market for this guy, that he is your franchise quarterback. That is what it is.
Yeah. You know what I don't buy into though? I'm just not going to buy it because I don't think they're going to make a stink of it, but you can't tell me like Brock Purdy or Mac Jones are going to be okay with one kind of outshining the other. Like, I know Mac is going to have that mindset where he's like, I'm the backup. This is Brock's team. He's the starter. But after 8 games, you can't tell me that a competitor, and I think that's what Mac is. I think Mac's shown that he is a competitor out there. Like, I don't think you could tell me he's sitting there just thinking, damn, good job, Brock. Like, I think there's a little piece of him says it should be me out there. I could have done that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think it's going to be really hard for him to stay on the team next year.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question, since the Niners and Cardinals are playing each other. Who is more likely to stay on their current team, Mac Jones or Kyler Murray?
Oh, God. I don't think either of them are going to stay on their team. So it's like,
Okay,
who's
but
more likely?
Who's more likely?
Probably Kyler.
Yeah, because it's harder to get rid of that contract.
Yeah, like they got the contract sorted out. So if you had to tell me who's more likely, but I still think Kyler's gone.
I think so too. I think most likely, I heard it yesterday. Larry Krueger was talking with us. There's a trigger date in the contract where he's due money in 2027 or 2028. If he stays on the roster the 5th day into the new league year, kind of like the same thing we saw back in the day with Russell Wilson and Derek Carr, then he gets money. I don't think the Arizona Cardinals are comfortable paying him the amount of money he's making anymore, with the amount of time he misses and the inconsistency and just honestly how bad he's been, not living up to expectations as the first overall pick. And I remember at one point we were all talking about, should this guy play baseball over football? I still think he serves a purpose in the NFL. What that is, I do not know. I don't know if he's a starter anymore. I don't know if he's a backup, but I don't think he's going to be on the Arizona Cardinals. Now, with Mac Jones, we saw it yesterday. I think Ian Rappaport had the report where a lot of teams are interested in him. But what's the price going to be? Like, did he do enough where people are going to move a second-round pick for him? No. I think most likely it would be a 4th or a 5th. And if that's the case, if you're the 49ers, look, you have to look at it like this. Mac Jones served a purpose for us this season, but is his purpose to get, is it better suited to get draft capital off of him for the future, or just to have him be the backup quarterback?
Yeah.
I think it's better to have him, traded, go to a different team and get a 4th or a 5th round pick for him. That would be beneficial in the long run. But also it has to be the right spot. It has to be like the Cleveland Browns or a similar scheme that made Mac Jones thrive in this Kyle Shanahan offense. Kind of like where, like a Kevin O'Connell or a Shane Steichen, where you need a offensive play caller as the head coach who sees a Sam Darnold or a Daniel Jones that I can fix Mac Jones. And you just saw that Mac Jones doesn't need a lot of fixing, but if he's in the right scheme, then he could thrive.
Yeah. Yeah. But with that Pelissero report that you mentioned earlier, I know you're going to agree with me on this, Derek, because you agree with everything that I say. It's a good thing to have on a podcast when both people just agree on everything and just keep talking and just glazing their own opinions about how they're right.
Just glazing your opinion, man.
Which we've done sometimes. We've glazed
but
our
you know
own
what?
opinions.
I'd rather be honest than phony.
Okay. But what do you think with this Tom Pelissero thing? I think you're going to agree with me.
Was it Pelissero or Rappaport? Either way, it doesn't matter.
I think Rappaport said it was officially official, then Tom Pelissero had the actual report.
That's fair.
With all this smoke that's around Mac Jones now, potentially being a trade candidate,
yeah.
if the 49ers hang on to him, what does that say about how they think about Brock Purdy? Because people are going to be calling. Phones are going to be working. As Kyle Shanahan says, as every year, we're always working the phones and stuff. So if they're always working the phones and stuff, what if they're not working the phones and stuff with Mac Jones and stuff?
If it's just like a 6th round pick and stuff or 7th round pick and stuff, then that's where I think he stays on the team. But if it's more significant, that's where I think they move him.
So
like,
you think it's going to be more based on the compensation they get rather than how they actually feel about their regular franchise guy, instead of them saying, "Ooh, you know what? We need to stick with him because Purdy has not looked good."
If they stick with, I mean, they're going to stick with Brock Purdy. But if Mac Jones is still on the roster, then in the back of my mind, I'm kind of thinking like 3 years ago, where they tried to trade Jimmy, and he was still on the roster, was hanging around, and sure enough, he was the backup quarterback. And I think had Trey Lance not got injured, most likely Trey Lance was going to get benched for Jimmy Garoppolo at some point.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing could be in play, where if Mac Jones stays on the team, that's just going to be in the back of everybody's mind, and especially in Brock Purdy's mind, where that is a possibility. But
you already know there's a segment of the fan base too that feels
of course
that this needs to be the move.
And as I said last podcast, that's a bad thing. It's a bad thing where the fan base, even though most of these fans, these same fans that were talking, or reacting to Gerald McCoy or name it 3 years ago, they were talking about how Brock Purdy's not an elite quarterback, saying, take that back. He's a top 10 quarterback. How dare you? Those are those same fans now that are like, I don't know about Brock. I don't know if you should be paying him $45 million a year or $53 million a year. That's just way too much. I like Mac Jones better.
Sure.
You're saying that now because he's the hot hand and he's cheaper. But Brock Purdy, you were all in love with Brock Purdy at one point. You were. When he was bringing you back in an NFC Championship game against the Detroit Lions, he was the man.
Yeah. But I know we've done this. And I was thinking about it, though. I know we've done this. I know we've moved off the idea that Brock Purdy has shaken that last overall draft selection and the evaluators made a mistake in thinking that he wasn't going to really be anything. I mean, and that includes teams. But what were teams seeing? I still wonder that. Like, I understand that he's better than a last overall pick, but what were teams seeing out of college? Did they just misjudge his tenacity? Did they misjudge how well he was going to read the defense? Did they misjudge how well he'd fit within a specific system? But I do think there are certain flashes at times that remind you like, oh, well, he was a last overall pick.
Yeah,
and
of course.
There's certain things that they were seeing that they did not want to take him. So I just wonder if that's going to rear its ugly head at some point. Like, I don't really know if he's completely shaken off that last overall draft pick label, because I just don't think that draft experts and teams are flat out wrong every time.
Yeah. Dude, he'll never shake it unless he wins a Super Bowl.
Right.
Like, we would have thrown it in Tom Brady's face had he stayed the starter with New England and never won, saying, well, he's, 6th round draft pick. If Kurt Warner never won, he's like, well, he's an undrafted quarterback. That's why he has all those turnovers. You can't change a narrative until you put it to rest.
Yeah.
And that means winning a Super Bowl, because then you're cemented. It means that you accomplished what you set out to do, and now you prove the haters wrong.
Yeah.
But until that time, the local media, the national media will always go back to Brock Purdy being the last pick in the draft. So I think it would be detrimental to Brock Purdy's long-term success if Mac Jones stays on the roster next year, not because anything's going to happen in the locker room. And I don't think that I think we make a big deal about like, well, he's on the team, so if the media talks about it, then it's going to be a distraction. I think that's overrated. But I do think that if you have value for Mac Jones, then take it. You're trying to build this team up again. You're trying to get younger. If you're offered a 4th-round pick or a 5th-round pick for a backup quarterback, yes, absolutely, make that deal, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's look at it this way.
All right.
Okay. Let's just assume Mac Jones is gone. All right. Let's just assume he's traded.
All right.
We've seen this back-to-back years now where they have managed to take just some free agent quarterback who doesn't really have a landing spot, doesn't have a home, don't really have a destination. Maybe people have given up on him. I got one for you.
Kirk's
actually a really good one. I didn't have that. It's a good one.
All right, what do you got,
Kirk? You ready for this? You're gonna be
Go for
pissed
it.
off. And I'm saying this for shock value. I'm not saying this because I believe it.
Geno?
Zach Wilson.
I can see that.
Yeah. Zach Wilson.
That doesn't piss me off at all. No, I could definitely see that. Zach Wilson's at the point in his career now where he's a backup as to go from team to team. Yeah, I definitely can see that.
He's been with Mike McDaniel.
Yep.
He understands a little bit just inherently, just with them two growing up together. Like, I think that's the next one up. I think you're going to find Zach Wilson's the backup to the 49ers.
I could see that. Dude, I could see if the Dolphins release Tua, I could see the Niners trading Mac Jones to Miami.
Yeah.
If Mike McDaniel's still there and it seems like he's got, a better vibe going on with the team right now. But yeah, I could definitely see that.
Go. Use that on KMBR. We're not getting as much reach as your station, so feel free to use that. You don't need a credit me for it.
No, I got you. It's all good. I have before, like when you sent me that thing about Steve Kerr talking about Will Richard better than Kuminga.
Oh, that one?
Yeah. I used that take and I was like, my buddy Stephen Langford was texting me this morning and
no one knows who the hell I am. You don't need to do that.
But I don't give a damn. I don't like taking credit for things that I didn't come up with.
Yeah. Yeah. Heard just
unless it's a nice rejoinder with KD and Creed mixed together.
See that, Pat? Yep. Shanahan's going to resurrect the entire 2021 draft class besides Trey Lance. What's Trevor Lawrence looking like next year? What's his contract up?
He'll never go after Justin Fields, though. That will never happen. Justin Fields is not Kyle Shanahan's cup of tea.
Trey's a free agent.
I don't think Trey will ever go back to Kyle. I don't think that's evident.
Jimmy's a free agent.
Yeah, no, I don't see that happening either.
Your boy Carson Wentz is a free agent.
I can see Carson Wentz. I can see that being an option.
That's one. I think that's absolutely one.
Yeah,
really.
Speaking of backup quarterbacks, or I guess Kirk Cousins, I brought up briefly. Did you see what Michael Penix said this week?
How nobody communicates with him?
Yeah, like a reporter asked him, "Is there anybody that kind of pumps you up or gives you praise when you're down about your performance?" And he was like, I mean, on the field, really nobody. Off the field, my girlfriend does that for me, but like on the field, no. And I was like, damn. Like Raheem Morris, Zach Robinson, your offensive coordinator, Kirk doesn't do that. I'm sure behind closed doors, those guys do. I don't think anybody wants them to fail. I just think that it's a possibility that he's not really understanding the question.
Maybe. I didn't see the question really. I just saw the quote and I was like, ooh.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty like don't make it seem like you're like in that situation. You don't want to see you don't want to be like a sob story. So I would just be like, yeah, I get praise from my teammates, but like when you do it like that, you're like, woe is me. Oh no. Yeah. Speaking of quotes from this
Mac Jones to the Raiders, how about that?
Dude, we got to see what happens with Geno. I think that there's 3 quarterbacks you got to look at with their contract situation this offseason. Kyler, Tua, and Geno. Are they making too much money for what they're doing right now?
Yeah,
I would think so. So as far as quotes, I want to play some sound bites from some coaches, and some players this week. The best sounds from the NFL during the week. And I sent you some clips, Steven. Let's start with Mike McDaniel, if you have that one.
Hang on, give me a sec, dude.
Okay, so I'll set it up.
This message board, this new thing that
Yeah, I don't like it.
Update on X, it's too much. I don't need a passcode to get in my DMs. No one's trying to force their way into that.
Yeah, I don't like the passcode, and I don't like where you really can't see who sent what.
Yeah.
Like it's like just it's all just there. So Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins beat the crap out of the Buffalo Bills 30-13. And a lot of Bills fans live in Miami. There is a club. I don't know what part of Miami it is, but there's a club or a bar called the Elbow Room that frequents a lot of Bills fans. And I guess after the game, you see Mike McDaniel drive down the road next to the Elbow Room.
Yeah, man.
And I don't know if he's calling out the fans. I don't know if he says anything, but he just wants his presence felt. So then there's video of this, and they ask him the next day of practice, did you show up to the Elbow Room the next day to talk trash to Bills fans?
That's why I like the good old days, the throwbacks of yore where you could trust, the internet and the images, because, that is pretty detailed. That, I do live in that area, but I mean, AI, right? I mean, I live in that area. AI is real. That's what I got for you. No, for the record, I did not answer it. That's the punchline of the humor. That's why.
Okay, it's bad when he has to explain the joke, and the reporters killed it. That's the Mike McDaniel I like. That's the Mike McDaniel, the quirky guy that after a win can talk shit and be goofy in that way. But when he's losing games, you lose me. Yeah. So
listen, man, if anyone's listened to Dan Soder talk, I actually really recommend this for any 49er fans out there. Watch Dan Soder on Julian Edelman's podcast. It's literally all about his 49er fandom. The comedian Dan Soder, who has the craziest voice that I've ever heard.
He's got great pipes.
It's insane. You can't do an impression of him because he's got such a unique kind of like, it sounds like he has like natural phlegm in his voice where he's always kind of like his Andre the Giant is like fucking money, and a bunch of other impressions that he does. But he goes on
to Katie Nolan?
I think so.
Yeah.
And he goes on Julian Edelman. I listened to this thing like almost all the way through for like an hour and 40 minutes or whatever it was. But he talks about his 49er fandom growing up. He also talks about Mike McDaniel and how McDaniel, it's just, my point is, I don't want to go through on a long tangent about it. My point is, you don't hang out with a guy like Dan Soder and grow up to be like best friends with him if you don't have some sense of humor, where you can just fuck with people. And I think like that's what Mike McDaniel just has in his blood, where he was also football obsessed.
They grew up together in Colorado?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And he goes through the whole genesis of it. Like I think his parents separated, but he was always like a 49er fan, even though everyone else was Broncos fans out there. It's a whole thing. So I highly recommend it. It's also a hilarious podcast in general. Like him and Edelman just vibe.
Yeah. But I think we all agree that Mike McDaniel definitely was down the Elbow Room.
Yeah. And the Elbow Room is also where the Florida Panthers celebrate every year that they won the championship so far. It's like noted, okay, they're going to be at the Elbow Room. So,
okay.
Yeah, pretty popular place, I guess.
I think that's a good sign also that Mike McDaniel feels good enough where he could do that, where he must be back next season. Mm-hmm. I kind of get that vibe where Stephen Ross sees the genius of Mike McDaniel and maybe everything changes around him, but he wants to keep the coach. So maybe he's just that confident now where he got what's the term I'm looking for? I guess just vote of confidence. Yeah, that he's going to be the coach next season.
Yeah, I agree. And I think his time in Miami's run its course.
I think so too. That's why I think Mac Jones could be an option. Mm-hmm. Let's go to Nick Sirianni. So you and I played the clip last podcast where Nick Sirianni was giving the reasons for why they went for it on 4th and 6 with I don't know, 20 seconds left where they could just punt the ball and win the game. He went into a convoluted answer where he was talking about how, well, the trajectory of the kick and the wind and blah, 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 and all that stuff, when the bottom line is you fucked up. Just take accountability and say that it was a bad decision. There's rumors now that A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts went rogue and decided to go for it on 4th and 6. They were just going to line up and see if they got an encroachment penalty to make it a 4th and manageable. But apparently, Nick Sirianni, and this is just reports, did not want to actually, run the play in Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown because A.J. Brown wasn't getting, a lot of productivity that day. They wanted to ice the game with a touchdown. They asked Nick Sirianni about this.
Can you square this up, though? Because there's been a couple players who have indicated that that it was a Jalen and A.J. Communication that led to that.
I knew exactly what the play was that we were calling, and that was run in that moment.
So they didn't check?
I knew exactly what the play was in that moment, what we called, and what was and what they happened.
Do you believe him?
No.
It's almost like a arrogance thing where you're going to question that I didn't know what was going on in the field. I'm the fucking head coach of the team. I get enough bullshit where I delegate to my coordinators that I don't know what's going on in the football field. He seems pissed there, but I do think that there is validity to this rumor. Absolutely.
Well, but you can also on the same side of the coin, though, you could say that he is not wanting to create any more friction than there already is among that team.
Yeah.
People have been talking more about the Eagles off the field than on the field this year. There's no doubt. And I think there's no point in, the arm's already bruised. There's no point in you have to keep punching it just to make a point.
I agree. And I think that the only reason this is brought up is because I think Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown have been honest in the past and said they've done this. And I don't know what the good thing to do as a coach. Like, do you admit that they went rogue, or do you just take the fall and say, like, no, I called that, and you just look like an idiot? And Nick Sirianni's fine with that. Yeah, I think they probably went rogue, and he's just covering up for them. And that's him being like, people question me enough as a head coach, so how dare you insinuate that I didn't know what was going on in the football field? When in reality, I think we've heard that before from Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. Speaking of A.J. Brown, sorry, did you have a comment there?
No.
Speaking of A.J. Brown, after the win, he went on Twitch and complained how he's not getting enough targets and not enough yards, and said if you have him in fantasy, don't bother. So then he went to his locker room, and this was kind of reminiscent of Terrell Owens a little bit, but I think he handled it a lot better than T.O. of the past. So this is A.J. Brown addressing everything when it comes to his Twitter posts and how he's not getting enough productivity in the Eagles offense.
Last year, what it was, thank you for the ring, but it's a new season. They adapted. We have to adapt, and we have to continue to get better and try to find new ways. So that's where the frustration comes in, because it's not about winning, you guys. Like, I want to win, yes. I want to help contribute as well, do our thing on offense as well. I think that's fair.
Yeah, he went into a whole thing about how he's not going to apologize for what he did on the stream, and that he's just being honest that if you were to play fantasy football with his stats, you're going to lose. So why would you bother? And he doesn't blame Jalen Hurts. He has to deal with a lot. I think he's kind of blaming more of the coaches where, kind of like with me where, yeah, Steph Curry goes off for 45 points. Do I think it's good enough for them to win a championship? No. So it's kind of the same deal here where A.J. Brown realizes the offense is getting by. In order for them to be successful, they need to put up more points. Does that mean that he gets more touchdowns and catches? Probably. But I do think it's also kind of a little bit like Devontae Adams 2 years ago where the Raiders were winning, and he was very vocal with the media that this is the wrong way to win. We need to win a better way than this. And it kind of made Devontae look like he was selfish. So I get what A.J. Brown is saying, but at the same time, do you need to be that vocal about it? Can you just say it behind closed doors to the quarterback and to the coach that this is not right? Even though we're winning games, this is not the offense that I know we're capable of being.
I can understand where he's coming from, but I wonder what the Eagles are thinking about it. Like, what does Jeffrey Lurie think when he hears one of his players said winning's great, but I want to contribute? Like, where do they come down on that?
Yeah.
Like, normally anything you've seen from teams is, I don't care how we win, as long as we win. You can have 1 yard, you could have 100. Like those cliches that they all use before the season. Like, that's not really it doesn't make him seem like he's just putting the team first in that regard. Like, thanks for the ring. Thanks for the ring. The hell? You know,
Yeah.
I could see the Eagles reacting in that way. Like, I get where he's coming from. He says, I think that's fair, but I don't know if I don't know if Eagles brass is going to think so.
No, because Jeffrey Lurie actually had to talk to AJ Brown this week during practice, and apparently it was a very productive conversation. But Jalen Hurts was asked to talk about this. Do you have this clip, Steven?
I do.
This is Jalen Hurts, the leader of the team, the quarterback. He always has his, phrases and slogans, and this is what he had to say about AJ Brown, speaking about his frustration with the offense.
We got the Detroit Lions, so I'm gonna definitely put a halt to that. I think the more we drive that, the more of a distraction it becomes, and I think ultimately it's about the group. And so things have been what they've been, and they are where they are. We are who we are as a team. We're all we got, and we're all we need. And so, in terms of who we have this week, we got a really good opponent coming into town. A team that is, if I can only imagine, has been waiting on the opportunity to play us, given history and given how good they've been. Been a great team, great organization, great coach, and great culture. And so, my energy, my focus is purely focused on trying to be the best that I can be this week, trying to lead this offense in a way that we need to be led, and be the leader I need to be in this time.
So I know that some people criticize Jalen Hurts for not having a lot of juice in press conferences, or even just being a little too calm during games. And his press conferences, or him saying these phrases, like he said there, just kind of nothing really, just like we all we got, we all we need. But I do appreciate when there's controversy in a locker room, and he's like, I'm not going to talk about this. Like, we're winning games here. I got AJ Brown frustrated on a stream. I'm trying to beat the Detroit Lions, a team that, when we're talking about the best teams in the NFC, they're right there with us. A team that was number 1 in seeding last year. We were number 2. It was all set up for us to take on them in the NFC Championship game.
Sure.
I'm not talking about AJ Brown right now.
Right. And I think that's just the polar opposite of AJ. Like, all Jalen Hurts cares about is winning. I think we've learned, Derek, is you mentioned that the people have had an issue with how calm he is on the sideline. He doesn't look like anything phases him. No, I think he's crazy in that regard. Like, I think that's just how crazy he is, in that he barely even reacts to winning a Super Bowl. Like, all he cares about is winning and moving on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the complete opposite of Brown. And that's where I don't know if it's going to work out with them. Like, they're just not aligned. And I don't think AJ Brown is wrong to feel the way that he feels, but I just think they're two totally different cats. And I don't know how long that relationship could last, especially when Jalen Hurts is all about winning and he doesn't care how it's done. Like, he's been the one that says, I don't care if I'm throwing 150, 200, 250, however many yards, however many touchdowns, as long as we're winning, I don't care how it's done.
Yeah.
And AJ Brown clearly does care about how the winning is done, which is why I don't think that this is going to go on much further. And people saying that the media is overreacting to this, like, no, I don't think the media is overreacting at all. I think the media are running with this because AJ Brown clearly wants to make a stink of it.
Yeah. The people that are saying there's not a lot there are like former Eagles, like Jason Kelsey, who just wanted it to go away because they want to win another championship. It is reminiscent a little bit of Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens. Not as bad as that, because that was pretty bad. And T.O., I think, went about things terribly, was saying, if we had Brett Favre right now, we would be a better team. We would be undefeated, as opposed to playing with Donovan McNabb. It's not like A.J. Brown's throwing his quarterback under the bus, but it is a little bit like, woe is me, when really, like, what are you complaining about, dude? You just won the Super Bowl.
Well, you got 7 more weeks, too. It's going to be a long 7 weeks, I think.
Yeah, but I can also see them trying to make him happy now, so I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if he goes off against the Lions, and they have a depleted secondary right now. So
yeah,
wouldn't be surprised about that. Last clip I want to play, this was just humorous to me. This is Aaron Glenn. So Rich Cimini had a report that Garrett Wilson will be going on IR, or not even on IR, but just said that he's going to miss the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks with an injury. And then, as the head coach of the team, you have to acknowledge some reports out there. So it's either you go with the flow or you shut it down quickly. And Aaron Glenn wasn't even asked a question just immediately begins his press conference with a passive-aggressive nature towards Rich Cimini's report.
I'm going to pass on talking about injuries. Since Rich, he's not here, has all the answers, so you guys can get all the injuries from Rich. So I go right into this here game.
Candidate for IR, or is that not something you want to
ask Rich?
I'm asking.
Well, I'm telling you to ask Rich.
He's not here, though. AG,
Well, you better call him.
no disrespect to you or Rich, but like we want to hear it from you. You know, like
You guys have been here. You guys have been hearing it from me, but now since we're just reporting stuff, that I haven't said, then maybe you should ask him.
Thanks, everybody. See how it goes.
Can you see me anymore?
Yeah, I can see you.
Oh, you got me? My camera's not
You're
working.
frozen.
I'm frozen? Damn it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, hopefully I fix that in a little bit here. Aaron Glenn, the problem I have is I get it. Like if you're upset that a reporter released that information, a leak like that before he announces it. But if you start a press conference off with being passive aggressive like that, I think that's ridiculous. So yes, that stuff's going to happen. And you can't be, that butthurt about it where it's like, ask Rich about all the injuries going forward. It's like, dude, this is your first year. You'll learn like that stuff's going to happen all the time. So that's the least of your concerns right now. You're 2-9, whatever the record is right now. So I thought that was just ridiculous.
Yeah. If head coaches are going to treat the media that way, I just don't know how long it's going to last. And I know that's putting the media on way too much of a pedestal there. I can't see you now. Your screen's completely dark.
Okay, I'll figure it out.
I could hear you. It's just so weird. But like, if you end up treating the media that way, then clearly something's bothering you with the season, and you're not all that level-headed that I think you need to be as a coach. I think a lot of these press conferences, sometimes, like, I don't care if you go off during something in a post-game presser or whatever, and you have an issue with maybe a question that you feel is unfair. Obviously, like, the media is not always going to be fair and balanced. But if you're just treating the media like that from the get-go, I don't know if that bodes well for the future, just based on clearly angry. Clearly, there's something that's going on. Like, it's just an injury. Like, what's the problem with a reporter? Yeah. It's nothing terrible. It's not like he was reporting about some growing disconnect within the organization, even though he's not in the organization. He's probably got some connections because Cimini's been there a lot longer than he has, and he just reported an injury. What's so bad about that?
It's not. He's just feeling the pressure because I don't think this is the way he envisioned it. I think that, he had aspirations for them being a good team this year. Yeah. And in the end, they traded away two of their best players. And it sounds like both of those guys did not get along with him. So I don't know how this is going to go with Aaron Glenn as head coach, where this is his focus when the team is shitty.
Yeah. And like, there was a New York hockey writer, Larry Brooks, I believe is his name. He died earlier this week.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
And he was a legend. And a lot of videos were popping up of him getting into spats with head coaches. Specifically when he would write articles about the team, and a lot of them were really sarcastic and they didn't appreciate that. But the thing you'll notice is that he was always there. The coaches and the players that always got into, that always called him out never really stuck around because they just couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle that their team was worth maybe an article or two that was going to be full of sarcasm. There's just certain things that show you, like, God, like you said, feeling the pressure. I think that speaks volumes, really, like what he was saying.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's pick some games in week 11 for a little thing we call wins or wangs, Steven.
I can't even see you, dude.
I know. Yeah, I don't know how to fix my camera in real time here.
Talking into the void.
It's all right. Who knows what I'm doing right now? I'm probably wearing a horrible wardrobe as usual. You don't need to see my face. All right. Let's just pick these games. You have a 3-2 lead on me from being right on everything with the Patriots-Jets game. Funny enough, we should talk about the Jets. Patriots looking pretty good. Actually, those uniforms they wore on Thursday night, kind of reminiscent of the old ones they used to wear like in the Drew Bledsoe days. Not bad. But yeah, you got the points right, or the team right initially with the Patriots. You got that right. You laid the points. You went under. I had the Jets covering. That was stupid on my part. So you're up 3-2 on me. Let's start with the game in Madrid against the Washington Commanders and the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are 2.5-point favorites, over under 47.5.
Dolphins playing like they've got nothing to lose. Commanders looking down. I think I'm going to lay the points with the Dolphins here, and I'll just take the under.
I'm going to take the over because I think both of these offenses can score points. I think both of the defenses, the Miami Dolphins defense has played better of late, but the Commanders defense, I don't care that Dan Quinn's calling the plays now. I think that it's just going to be trouble for their defense because they are depleted. So give me the Dolphins. I'll lay the points. I'll go over on the 47.5. Then we got the Carolina Panthers taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons are 3.5-point favorites, over under 41.5.
Believe it or not, I'm going to take the Panthers to win.
Ooh.
I think the Panthers are a little bit better than we all believe. And I'm kind of surprised the Falcons are the favorites in this one. Plus, they've been really good against the spread this year, 3-2 in the last 5 games. So I'm going to take the Panthers, but I think they're going to win outright. And I think it's going to be a little bit of a shootout, so I'll take the over.
I'm taking the under, and I'd like to say that the Panthers are better than what they are, but I mean, last time these two teams played, it was 30-0 for Carolina, but the Carolina Panthers are just so inconsistent where one week they beat the Green Bay Packers and then they lose to the New Orleans Saints. So I think the Falcons, they looked pretty good in their last game against the Indianapolis Colts, taking them to overtime. Then they've lost 4 in a row. They need to, get back to what they looked like against the Buffalo Bills. So give me the Falcons to win. I'll lay the points, and I'll go under on the 41.5. Then we got the Houston Texans, who had a gigantic victory against the Jacksonville Jaguars last week, scoring 36 in the fourth quarter to come back and beat them. It's Davis Mills once again. The Tennessee Titans are coming off a bye. The Texans are 5.5-point favorites, over under 37.5.
God damn, 5.5, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to lay the points with the Texans, and I'm going to take the under.
I'm taking the under as well. Don't love either of these offenses. I'm taking the Texans to win, but I got Tennessee covering on the 5.5. Then we got a NFC North division matchup, a rematch of Week 1. You got the Chicago Bears going to Minnesota, where the Minnesota Vikings are 2.5-point favorites, over under 48.5.
Hang on. I got to find where I'm at here. Yeah, I just don't know about J.J. McCarthy, man. I just don't. I think the Bears are rolling. So I'll just take the Bears to win outright, and I'll take the under.
I'm doing the same exact thing. I think the last time these two teams played, it was really just J.J. McCarthy being good in the fourth quarter. And really the last few weeks, J.J. has looked good on the first 15 when it's all scripted for him. And then when he has to improvise, not as good. So, yeah, I think the Bears are playing really well right now. And, I like what I see from them. Caleb Williams is still not as good as I thought he was going to be. But this offense is pretty good with Ben Johnson. So, go ahead.
Ben Solak was making a really good point. Sure, Caleb Williams might not look the same as, say, like a Jaden Daniels did, picked second overall, but it seems like the evaluators of the quarterbacks that year got it right for the most part. Like, Caleb has shown that he's got the tools and the physicality to become a really, really good quarterback, and he's gotten better each week. He's still a little erratic, but I think another offseason, and he'll be much better next year. But it's clear that Michael Penix and J.J. McCarthy still have a long way to go.
Right.
Still question marks around Bo Nix. I do think the draft evaluators kind of got it right still.
No, I mean, definitely Caleb Williams is talented. It's just, yes, I think that he still has some growing pains with his Ben Johnson offense, and in time he'll thrive. But right now it's kind of hit or miss, but the offense is playing really well. So give me the Bears, and I'll go under as well. Then we got the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers are 5.5-point favorites, over under 49.5.
Yeah, Flacco's just been laying out bar after bar with his press conferences lately.
He's got a new one
last week about how he loves eating lunch alone. That was a bar. And this week there were quotes that got taken out of context where he said he really doesn't care about getting benched for Joe Burrow. And those were the only words that they used in said quote. But I think he gave a really well thought out answer. And it was similar to the one with Mac Jones, where it's like, as a backup quarterback, you kind of know when the end of your time is going to be, and you're just waiting for the starter. So am I thinking about Joe Burrow coming back and waiting for my demotion? No, I'm not really thinking about that. I'm just taking it with each week. And I just think with the way that he's performed against the Steelers in his past and the way that Mike Tomlin has talked about them, I'll give the Steelers the edge, but I'm going to at least have the Bengals covering. I'm going to say that's a really close game, and I'll take the under.
I'm going to take the under as well. I don't think that the Bengals and the Steelers have a shootout like they did last time on Thursday Night Football. And the Steelers need to win this game, bottom line. Like the last few weeks, their offense has looked not great. They look terrible against the Chargers. I think they need to show this week that their offense can put up some points, and the defense needs to get after Joe Flacco that they weren't able to do the first time around. So give me the Steelers, going to lay the points, and I'll go under on the 49.5. Then we got two teams that started off really well and now are kind of in desperation mode. You got the Buccaneers going to Buffalo, where the Bills are 5.5-point favorites, over under 47.
Have you seen any of the Baker and Josh Allen press conferences going back and forth?
I have not.
Yeah, Baker, they're clearly friends. I'm sure they've golfed together quite a bit.
Yeah.
But they were Baker's like, yeah, I got to get walkie-talkies anytime I got to talk to him because he's so damn tall. And considering he's 6'10", I can't hear a thing that he says. He also has really small hands. And then, like, Josh Allen heard that, and he's like, yeah, he wears 2 gloves when he golfs. That tells you all you need to know. I just don't think the Bills have been playing that well. I think their defense is vulnerable. But in a weird way, I still think they're going, yeah. You know what? No. I'm going to have the Buccaneers winning on the road. On the road. I'm beating the Bills. This is where you're going to be eating hot sauce next week because I think I know which direction you're going. But I'm also going to take the over.
I'm taking the under, and am I taking the under? You know what? No, I'm changing that. I'm going to go over. I think the defense does enough, but I think both of these teams need to start putting us some points up. I think the Buccaneers are a different situation where they're going to win the division. I believe in the NFC South. I can't see the Panthers or the Falcons catching them. The Bills, in order to compete with the Patriots, need this game. It's at home. I'm taking the Bills. I'm laying the points. I'm going over on the 47. Then we got the Green Bay Packers going to New York, where you got Mike Kafka as the interim head coach. So maybe, you ever heard this phrase, Steven? The dead cow bounce game?
No.
It's a phrase people use when you got your coach fired and now you want to play hard for the new guy.
Uh-huh.
And you got Jameis Winston as a starting quarterback. So we got the Packers favored by 7, 42.5 is the over-under.
I'm going to go with the over. And I'm going to stick with my man Jameis. I think they're going to cover that number. I think the Packers are going to win, though.
I'm going to go with the under. I think that the Packers, if they can't put up points against this Giants defense, then they got issues. And we know they have issues already. But if you can't score against this team that's given up a ton of points the last few weeks, then I don't know if they're going to be a playoff team in the Green Bay Packers. Although they do have some pass rush, and I do think that Jordan Love will probably struggle at times. This is a game that Green Bay should win. So with that, I'm going to take the Packers to win, but I'm with you. I'm going to take the Giants to cover, and I think we have to go under on the 42.5. Then we got the Chargers taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Rematch of the playoff game from a couple years ago where the Chargers were leading in this game, and then the Jaguars came back to win. Chargers are favored by 3, over under 43.5.
I never know with the Chargers, dude. I never know. But I do think they're going to win this one. So I'm going to lay the points with the Chargers. Taking a lot of road teams, if you haven't noticed.
I am noticing.
I am taking the... I'll take the over.
I'm taking the under, and I'm taking Jacksonville. I think that they can find holes in this Chargers defense enough where they can run the football. Trevor Lawrence is so inconsistent to me, but I think they need this game. They need to show some life from what they were a week ago, where they gave up a huge lead. And I think the Jaguars defense can get after Justin Herbert with the lack of offensive linemen they have right now. So give me the Jags. I'll go under on the 43.5. Then we got the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Cleveland Browns. Ravens are 7.5-point favorites, over under 39.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are rolling, man. Lay the points with them, and I'll just take the over for that too. 39 is pretty low.
It is low, but not low enough for this Browns offense. So give me the Baltimore Ravens. I'll lay the points, but I'll go under on the 39. Then we got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Brock Purdy's back. Ricky Pearsall's back. Niners are favored by 3, over under 48.5.
Yeah, just the Cardinals are so depleted. I don't think there's any chance the Niners lose this game. I'll lay the points with the 49ers, and I think Kyle Shanahan's really going to scheme it up because I think even though he may not act like he does, I think he hears the noise around Mac Jones and Brock Purdy, and I think he has a point to prove. So I'm going to lay the points with the Niners, and I'll take the over.
I'm going to go under because I think that Brock Purdy could be a little rusty in this game, but I think the Niners win. I think the big thing is, can the Niners defense stop the Arizona Cardinals? And I know that's like, what? Arizona Cardinals offense is nothing. Yeah, but we thought that a couple weeks ago when the Houston Texans played the 49ers. I know they don't have Marvin Harrison Jr. He had an appendectomy, or appendicitis, appendicitis, so he had an appendectomy to remove it. But we saw last week where the 49ers could not cover any of the Rams tight ends, and the Cardinals have one of the best ones in all of football, and Trey McBride. So that is what concerns me for the 49ers. But in the end, I do think they win this game. So give me the Niners. I'll lay the points, and I'll go under on the 48.5. Then we got the Chiefs taking on the Denver Broncos. Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites, over under 45.
I think this is where the Broncos finally get exposed. So I'm going to lay the points with the Chiefs, but I'll take the under.
I'm taking the under as well. Yeah, against my better judgment, I know that Pat Surtain's not playing, and I know that J.K. Dobbins isn't playing, but I think this Broncos defense could get after Mahomes. And usually Andy Reid is money after a bye week, but against my better judgment, I'm going with the Broncos here, and I'll go under. And then we got the game of the week, which is not being treated like that. This game is not going to be nationally televised. It's not the Tom Brady game even, but it should be with 2 7-2 teams playing each other. You got the Seahawks taking on the Rams, over under 48.5. The Rams, because they're home, are 3.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I'll have the Rams winning. I'll have the Seahawks covering, and I'll have it going over.
The 3.5's not big enough for me to take the Seahawks cover, but I do kind of like a field goal game. However, I'm going to take the Rams. I'll lay the points, and I'll go over on the 48.5. But I'm just leaning Rams because of the home team. This is the most exciting game of the weekend, in my opinion. In a close second, though, we got the Lions at Philadelphia on Sunday Night Football, over under 46.5. Philly is favored by 2.5.
Yeah, I think the Lions come away winning this one in Philly. I just think
right.
they're going to get their lick back. So I'm going to have the Lions winning. I'm going to have this one going. I'll take it under.
I'm going to go over. I think that after all of the A.J. Brown frustration, the Eagles start to throw the football a little bit more and maybe get more of a ground game going with Saquon. The Lions defense is a little banged up. But, yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles in this game. I'm going to lay the points. I'll go over. I do think it's a shootout. However, keep in mind, it might be really windy in Philadelphia this weekend. And then lastly, we got the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Raiders. And the Cowboys are 3.5-point favorites, over under 50.
Yeah, lay the points with the Cowboys, and I'll just take the over.
I'm taking the over as well. I think it's going to be a shootout game. I don't think that the Cowboys can stop Ashton Genty or even Geno Smith at times. I think they'll have a hard time covering Brock Bowers, but I don't think that this Raiders defense can stop the Cowboys offense. So, especially with the secondary, I don't think anybody can shut down CeeDee Lamb or George Pickens. So, yeah, give me the Cowboys, lay the points, and I will go over. And those are your picks for Week 11 in the NFL. Slowing it down for the music. Good timing.
Yeah, I didn't do that. It just happened to time out.
No, I know. I was slowing it down myself.
Oh, nice.
All right. Before we get out of here real quick, Jackass of the Week. Do you have anything, Steven?
Yeah, I got 2.
Okay.
Sorry, Derek. I know I've kind of got on you a little bit on this podcast, but you're my number 1, and I'm more speaking for my wife.
Well, if you could see my face, I am just offended.
Yeah. We're at the birthday thing last Saturday.
Yeah.
Played a curly fries. And
oh my God,
the lone curly fry that had the longest swirl around it. Everyone knows that among the curly fries, the ones with the longest swirls are the best. And you took the best one, even though we were all sharing the curly fries. So that's one.
All right. You know what? Because Jesse gave me 2 rides home that night,
Yeah.
I apologize for taking the swirly curly fry.
Told you I'd call you out for jackass of the
Yeah,
week on that one.
I know.
Number 2, I don't have anything in sports, but number 2, this happened. Jesse and I know this might even bring pop culture catch up into it, but we were watching Pluribus, and
Nice.
And some guy started knocking on our front window that's looking out into the street. Freaked me out. So I go outside, and he's got a box with him, and I couldn't really like make out what he was saying at first. He seemed really pissed, but he's like, these get delivered to me all the time. What are they, blind? Like, here you go. And then he throws and he's like, what do you want me to do with this if this keeps happening? I don't know. What the fuck you want me to do about it? Like, I kind of got I was a little antsy because you're just coming at me in the middle of it was like 8:30 at night, and you're just screaming about something that I have no control over.
Hold on. Sorry. This is a neighbor of yours, and he's complaining to you that he gets delivered your mail?
Yeah, by accident from Amazon people. But it sounded like he was pissed off at the Amazon people more than me, but he seemed he was taking that out on me.
Yeah,
So
100% he was taking out on you. That's bullshit.
For that, he gets my jackass of the week. I literally am like, okay, well, what the fuck do you want me to do?
I can see you responding that way.
Yeah, and he's just like, I'll just throw him over next time.
What a jackass. You know what? Yeah, 100% yes.
Yeah. So that's it. That's the jackass of the week.
There's a better way to do that. There's a better way of coming to a neighbor and being like, hey, I don't mean to bug you. It's 8:30 at night, but I keep getting delivered your mail. Is there anything we could do about this? And I don't know what you could do about it, Steven, but that's total jackass.
Yeah. And I'll say this. He's an Asian dude, and he had a very thick accent. I'm not going to do that because that's insensitive, but that's the verbatim what he said.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
Yeah. Yeah. It was actually really funny. It was, you remember, Ocean's 11?
Yes.
Safe.
I know exactly.
Where the fuck you been?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like that.
All right. Well, that's just comical. For my jackass of the week, I'm going to have it be Woody Johnson and all of the NFL owners for getting butthurt about these report cards and filing a grievance against the NFLPA because they don't like that their teams are getting drugged through the mud here when it comes to the facility and all that shit. Then do better. Do better as owners. You guys have the money to complain like, oh, you guys are hurting our feelings. Fuck you. Fuck you, Woody Johnson. Fuck all the owners. So I think that was lame as hell for them to file a grievance against the NFLPA over the report cards. Come on.
So funny. My favorite thing at the end of that article was how it said one owner told ESPN the only ones who don't care for the report cards are the ones with subpar grades. And that's how the article ended.
Exactly. I'm sure it's Woody Johnson. I'm sure it's Michael Bidwell. Yeah. And you know what? Did we hear anything from Josh Harris? Because from what I've heard, the Commanders had one of the worst facilities in all of football, and then he came over and changed things. Yeah. So maybe that should just be your initiative to change your facility.
Yeah. Yeah. Just complaining. It's the worst. It's people who we talked about it before, like the lack of accountability. Like there's none of it. It's just, we're getting criticized for it. I hate the people who are sending that message, but we're not going to do anything to maybe get rid of that message and better ourselves for it. Like that's the whole point of the report cards, right?
Yeah, 100%. All right. Pop culture catch up. You watched the Pluribus?
I'm watching Pluribus, but the thing that there's not like a ton as far as the pop culture catch up for me.
Yeah.
But the thing that I'm noticing here, the rollout for this Christopher Nolan flick that's coming out, the Odyssey, it's like this is shaping up to be like a great movie, and it's one that you're supposed to go see in IMAX, as you are with every Chris Nolan movie. But like the pictures are getting rolled out. It looks so sick. We shot over 2 million feet of film, and it's meant to be watched in IMAX. Wow. So the rollout for this thing, I can't wait to see it. There's also the Kill Bill double feature.
I heard about that.
I can't remember what it's called, but it's getting played, I think, from the 4th through the 12th of December. And it's like 4 hours and 40 minutes long. And I think there's one playing in Pleasant Hill and the other playing in Daly City. And I might see if I can. I don't think Jesse's like a big fan of it, but I might see if I could sneak off on like a Friday night and just go watch this thing, because I'd love to see Kill Bill volumes 1 and 2 back to back, which is what it is.
Would they be like 5 hours?
Yeah, 4 hours, 40 minutes runtime.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
The Whole Bloody Affair is what it's called. That's it.
that seems pretty cool. Yeah, the Odyssey is getting a ton of hype, and yeah, it's gonna be like Oppenheimer, where you have to see it in IMAX. And for this one, it's more of a spectacle. So I would agree that probably need to go to the IMAX theater for this one.
Yeah, I was listening to an interesting opinion on just your opinion, man, on Oppenheimer, and how like it was Christopher Nolan's response in that with his Dark Knight movies,
Yeah.
like in a way he feels responsible for kind of the rise of the MCU, in that they just kept on churning out these Marvel films when Batman was clearly more popular. And so he is almost using Oppenheimer. He's telling the story of Oppenheimer as a way to say, like, I'm the one who created this Marvel cinematic universe, or at least created this idea of it, and almost like ruin movies and movie going in the process. Pretty interesting.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Where basically Christopher Nolan is Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
And the movie industry is Albert Einstein, just being like, how dare you?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to look at that.
Yeah.
As far as pop culture catch up, I've been watching Pluribus. I think it's a really good show. I haven't been watching anything recently as far as, well, I've been watching The Cheer Company. And let me just say, this last episode that premiered last Sunday, whew. It was crazy, about as crazy as anything you've ever seen on I Think You Should Leave Now. It ended with something that I don't know if you can do on television, but they showed it. And I was watching my little brother being like, oh my God, I cannot believe they just showed that on TV. Dude, I don't want to give it away, but it was nuts.
You will never guess who's into that movie or that show.
That show? Somebody we both know mutually?
Oh yeah.
Who?
Steiny.
Steiny's into The Chair Company?
Dude, he comes in the other day, and I don't know how he got into like a TV and movie conversation, but he walks
like The Chair Company.
He walks into the He walks into the green room. He does that thing where he's like, you know what I've been watching? You know what I like? The Chair Company. I was like, what? He's like, yeah. I'm like, Tim Robinson? Yeah, man. Yeah. And I'm like, what? I didn't. He's like, it's pretty good.
You know what? Steiny's kind of like that though. Like, I'm not going to say his sense of humor is 100% like Tim Robinson, but Steiny's weird and quirky like that, the same way that Tim Robinson is a little bit.
Yeah. So that was a random little fun fact from a Friday.
Dude, I'll never forget. I'm at remember Lark, the bar that was near the old station.
Oh yeah.
Steiny was in there one time, and we were talking about movies, and he goes, "You know what movie I really like? Moonlight." And I was like, "Oh, you like that one?" He goes, "Oh yeah, great movie." And he goes, "You're probably too scared to watch it, huh?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
What a weird sense of humor he has.
Very weird sense of humor. Real quick before we get out of here, along with pop culture catch-up, I guess, but this is more of just a sad story. I was a big fan of Last Chance U. It was a great show back in the day that, put a spotlight on a lot of junior colleges. Obviously, there was the first one. I forget the name of the school, but that's how we all got into it.
Yeah.
Then there, of course, was the one with Jason Brown, and it was entertaining, but turns out to be that guy was a huge asshole. Along with the first coach, I thought that he was just a guy that wanted a bunch of power. Then there was
but Buddy Stevens, though, like he came out and said he didn't.
Yeah,
he really tried to improve himself after that. He didn't like the way that he looked.
Okay, fair enough.
It really opened his eyes to how he was treating some of those players.
Fair enough. And I think Jason Brown just didn't give a shit. And then there was the season where they went to Laney College right here in Oakland, and they had sorry, forgetting the name of the guy. I apologize here. Sorry.
Coach Beam.
Coach Beam, sorry. John Beam. John Beam, who was the head coach of Laney College before that, in Oakland. He's a legend. He coached Skyline High School and just has been in the community for a long time. And I knew of him at Laney College, but I didn't really know about him until I watched Last Chance U. And you just saw him, just be great with the kids and be a great coach. And you saw the news the other day where I don't know if he's a head coach anymore, Steven. I think he's just he's the AD of the school. But yeah, just a terrible story where he's sitting in his office and a 27-year-old kid with a gun shows up and shoots him in the head. And unfortunately, John Beam passed away earlier this week. And it's terrible. Laney College is not too far from where I live. And everybody that talks about him, we had Marcus Thompson on yesterday to speak about him and just how great of a guy he was, great of a coach he was. They were working on a book, just how inspiring he was to all the kids. And it's just a senseless act of violence. So we have a lot of issues out here in Oakland, and John Beam was trying to change that. And it's just sad that his life was taken away for something just so meaningless.
Yeah, it's just horrific, man. I don't really know what else to say about it. I knew a couple of people who played for Laney coming out of high school, and they were stoked that he was going to get his shine on Last Chance U because of how much of a kind of father figure he was to a lot of the players. It's just terrible, man. I don't really know how else to describe it. Like the Last Chance U tells you really all you need to know, but so does the outpouring of condolences that are coming from former players. Like it's really tragic for a community. And, unlike, I don't want to compare him or anyone or anything, but it feels like with Last Chance U, it was great that he got his shine, but he also didn't seem like the type who needed it. Like he was just happy to be a coach and understood his role with his players. It's so terrible, man. I don't really know how else. It heartbreaking, all of it. It's so, it was being reported on KCBS throughout Friday. And, just the developing news about how it happened first. It happened on Thursday. Then they caught the suspect on Friday, arrested him. And then of course the news surfaced of his death. It was just awful, man. Awful.
Yeah, absolutely. So rest in peace to John Beam. He was an important figure in Oakland, in the Bay Area, and just gone way too soon. When someone passes, it's always hard when it's, health related, but when it's done at a murder, that's just, it makes it 10 times worse. So
for someone who is really making it, obviously no one deserves that, but for someone who is making such a difference for generations of families, for over 30 years, it's just, yeah, it makes you think, it really makes you wonder why people do what they do in this world. It's just terrible.
Absolutely terrible. So rest in peace of John Beam. There's no easy transition. So we'll just end the show here, and I'll see you guys from Hawaii. I think I'm good to do a show on Tuesday, and it'll be much earlier for me. So we could do maybe a little earlier on Tuesday. We'll figure that out. I'll be in my hotel room and have ability to go live if I'm not frozen like I still am for the last 30 minutes or 45 minutes of this podcast.
I've been speaking into a void. Nothing.
So we'll see you guys on Tuesday night. Thanks to the Skills Report. Thanks to Mac Van. Thanks to Tacky. That's Tacky. It's the first time in a while. Can't stick around, but wanted to say eat Hawaiian shit, Derek. Well, thank you. Thanks to AJ Cruz. Thanks to Rocka New Era, I believe. Thanks to Erdy1. Thanks to Chewy's Raiders coverage. Pat H. There was somebody else in here earlier that was a Raiders fan, I believe, but I can't find them at the moment. All right, everybody. We will see you on Tuesday. See you from Hawaii. Steven, say what you always say.
It is just our opinion, man.